Hello everybody, it is the 11th of September 2009. This is Derek. Hope everybody's doing magnificent. And in this video I'm going to be going over some economic data, as a lot has been happening recently. So the first issue I'm going to talk about is this economic recovery that they are talking about. It doesn't matter if you put on CNN, CNBC, Bloomberg, Reuters, it doesn't matter. They have been spewing out so much that our economic recovery is happening. It looks like the worst is behind us and the unemployment rate is going to top out at 10%. That's what they're trying to tell us. These are the same people who said they were surprised and nobody's seen this collapse coming last year. And then they said a recovery in summer of 2008 was going to happen. So do you really think what they're saying has validity to it? Because we look back at the previous recovery that we had, 2002, 2003, after almost a half a decade, about a quarter of a decade, a little more, of such hard economic times. But they were nowhere like they were today. There's been a lot more banks that have been going bankrupt. We've seen a lot more businesses going bankrupt. Unemployment hitting numbers it hasn't seen in a long time. And one can say, well, 9.7%, that's still well below the numbers we had in the 30s. Well, the problem there is it's not 9.7%. And it's realistically probably over 20, which means that we are pretty close to getting to those massive levels that we were at from previous times. The bank failures that happened from October of 2000 to the end of the year 2006 total 24. There has been like around 120, 130 since then. And we've had 46 bank failures alone this summer. So they're trying to tell us that we have an economic recovery going where we have bank failure after bank failure happening. We are seeing the housing market going higher, so they're trying to say, as far as home sales are concerned, that things are better. But a lot of it has been in the way they work over the stats. I was saying how they change unemployment numbers based on people not looking for work, off unemployment, part-time, those type of people. And with this here, they are trying their best to get people to finance housing for their first-time buyers program, and that's helped bring houses go up in the summertime. But now that the summer is coming to a close, don't be surprised to see these housing problem, the housing sales start to go down and down and down. It's pretty much inevitable. As far as the stock market is concerned, we're seeing stocks go to highs that have been so magnificent. Dow's close to 10,000. Heck, the S&P may even get to 1,100 pretty soon. And the NASDAQ is pretty close to coming to their 2008 levels from the earlier part of the year. So heck, I guess good times are here again. And you wonder what the bailout money has been doing? Yes. Now, if you're into 401ks or you're holding stocks and equities and you were concerned and panicked over what happened, well, I take this as a thank you for being able to get out of these equity markets, or at least protect your equities if, of course, you refuse to get out of stocks. And what I mean by protecting equities is making plays called like option puts, or option calls on the shorts for all of these companies. So say the financials, which uses the code XLF. Back when we had the March lows, the XLF was below $6. So realistically speaking, there are a lot of great puts out there for the year 2011, SPY and the NASDAQ up until 2012 that have some fantastic prices. Also the triple long short financials. These things are designed to be major losers on the long run, that simply putting both of them for the long haul will get you some great yields. However, You're risking dollars to win dollars, and I do not suggest that myself. I only suggest that if you refuse to get out of stocks, it's like a stock market crash insurance, if you will, and you're pretty much covered for about 2.5, even 3 years' time, which is huge. And during these volatile times where everything and anything seems to happen, literally you're putting yourself at serious risk when you're holding on to equities and even the dollar, for that matter. The dollar index closing at 76.23 on Friday, and its next level of support is 72, but I still think it can go much, much lower than that. Big thing is here, when you look at these charts here, I'm going to show you the dollar short. This is UDN, and it's right now 27.96, which means that it is barely up from its September 26th close here. Yet on UUP, which is the long fund, it is down about 4%. What happens is they nickel and dime us every day with a lot of these charts. So we're seeing spots where one is up 0.5%, say the long, yet the short might be down 0.54%. They really hit you every single day just by a few pennies here and there, but it does add up, showing that a lot of the stuff in which they do, like these equities and all the stuff they do, there's a lot more to it than you think. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and it's very risky right now if you are trading into these funds. Now gold, this will be its second ever close above 1,000 and its biggest close ever. As it looks like, from what I've seen, it was 1,006, and in 2008 it closed at around 1,001, 1,002, and its all-time high is 1,029 on the intraday levels. Now the big thing for people is to see how gold manages to hold after this rally, and to see the rally last week and it play around with 1,000 all week and be able to hold. This is very bullish for a lot of people's point of views when they look at their technical ways of figuring the price action for it. So we're moving into a weekend. A lot of big things can often happen on Monday. Whether we see a gold $50, $60, $70 spike, I mean, that would be 5, 6, 7%. It's possible. I still say it's unlikely, but it's definitely possible. Some people say, well, every time gold gets to 1,000, it always falls, which has historically been true. But historically, when key levels of resistance, which is the ceiling which you go to where it falls back down, gets tested over and over again, whenever a lot of times it breaks through, it can really break through, which in this case would mean gold going to the area of 1,100 or 1,200. And the big thing that I've noticed is last week, not this week, the week before, on the Tuesday, when the stock sold off, there was a lot of volume for the stock sell-off, and immediately the next day we've seen gold and silver have a lot more volume and higher price action. That leads me to believe that money was placed directly from the stock market into gold. So when the stock market ends up having serious falls, serious losses, or as some people call serious corrections, it's going to be interesting to see if any or some of that money is going to be put into commodities like gold, silver, oil, DBC, those kind of things there, because last time we seen money get put into the dollar. A lot of times this might not be the case, as China has been really talking down the United States currency, told their people to get gold and silver, and there's been a lot of these countries talking about just having a new currency. This is not a conspiracy theory. A lot of these conspiracy theories become conspiracy facts because a conspiracy theory is having evidence that you're not entirely sure. But the more evidence that you get, the easier it is to figure out whether it's legit or whether it's not legit. And then I live in a world of probability odds. I say to myself, well, what's the chances something happens? So to me, what's the chances that the economy recovers the way they want? It's 0.0 something. So when it's the case, it's not going to happen. When something's over 99% in my mind is probability yes, I take it as it's going to happen. And these failures and the whole entire collapse of this economy, to me, is 100% for sure. And a lot of it is on the fundamentals I've been speaking over and over and over about. Now on Monday, President Barack Obama is going to be speaking regarding the economy. So it'll be quite interesting to see how much he's going to try to prop it up the best that he can. And we'll see how many people, we'll say sheeple for lack of better terms, will be like, oh yay, President Obama, thank you so much, because it almost sickens me now to hear them say it, because I just know that it is the powers that be that have brainwashed so many people, and it's just so unfortunate to see. But more and more people are waking up to the true reality that is going on around them, which is like so amazing. I just thought of something. Demcat, thank you so much for your shout out a little while ago. I got about 70 subscribers that day. Thank you all for subscribing. And together we can make this network happen. So if you've been thinking about doing these videos, the more and more of us that can come on here and say these type of things, exercise of freedom of speech, the better off that it's going to be. If you decide to do one of these videos, send me a PM with the video on it. And like I say, we can get this together to work. We as the people do outnumber the powers that are at this moment. That's something that they are not able to take away from us. And the more and more of us that can wake up right now, the worse it is for them, the better it will be in the long run for us. Because I'm very bullish on America and Canada and the world and the economy, but over a longer term time frame. We need to fall and lose before we can win. So I wanted to make this about an 8-minute video. I can't see the time on here, but I'm guessing 14-15 minutes. You never know, I'm wrong sometimes, at least for stuff like this anyway. And thank you all for watching. Take care. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.